Is there anything better on Christmas than seeing Taylor Swift and Brittany Mahomes sad?
Yeah, hanging out with family and eh, everything else, giving gifts. There's a lot of things.
No. That's the gift that keeps on giving. Is that we see her all season long root on Travis Kelce as sirens run around me. If you can hear that in the background, I don't know if you can. And then she didn't have anything to celebrate because the Chiefs got their ass kicked in Arrowhead. Steve and I love 3 games on Christmas Day. I know you don't. We'll get to it all. Merry Christmas, everybody. Belated Christmas. Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Stephen, by all means, tell us why that the NFL should not schedule games on Jesus' birthday.
Listen, I love the NFL. You know this. We love football. Why else would we spend an entire, podcast talking football every single podcast episode? Langford, the NFL Grinch. See, I'm okay with being the NFL Grinch. The NFL is the Grinch. The NFL has stolen Christmas from us Who's. All right?
Oh, God, I wouldn't want to be a Who.
In this scenario, we're noses. Yeah, well, that's not the point.
Every day is Christmas for the Who's. They got to, come on, do something else. Halloween, Valentine's Day, Arbor Day.
But I just think 3 games, like it was Monday Night Football, so you're not going to take away a Monday Night Football game. I get that. But do we really need 3 games from the NFL on Christmas just because they want to monopolize their entire sport so they can take over every single holiday? Because Christmas with the NBA, we're used to that, right? In the NBA, you don't need to watch all 5 games. It's nice to have on in the background. But the NFL, I'm sorry, I'm too big of a football fan to where if they're playing 3 games every single Christmas from now until, we all perish and the next generation is moving on, like, I'm not going to pay attention to my families at all. And like, I want to watch the NFL. If NFL games are on, I am going to probably choose that. But it's like, last night I'm hanging out with the fam and, I got my brother and his kids and, I see them every so often, but we don't get to hang out during Christmas time. And instead of hanging out with them at 5:15, I'm sitting there watching a 49er game and watching Purdy throw interception after interception after interception, which was fascinating, but you could tell the kids did not care. So this is just taking away from everything. I think the NFL needs to do away with all of these Christmas Day games. We don't need them. Put them someplace else. Put them on Boxing Day, for God's sakes.
So you're basically taking the Mark Cuban approach that the NFL is getting fat like hogs and greedy with monopolizing the Christmas holiday by having 3 games.
Agreed.
Meanwhile, the NBA had how many? 5 yesterday?
5. I'm okay with the NBA doing that. We're used to that. It's been a tradition for a decade.
Hey, listen. You don't have to worry about this. Hey, you don't have to worry about this. You know why? Because Christmas falls on a Wednesday next year. They're not going to put NFL games on a Wednesday.
Oh, you say that now, but wait till Sly Roger Goodell, the mayor of NFL Whoville, comes in and takes it away from you.
Wouldn't he be the Grinch in your scenario?
He's the mayor. We are all the Grinch. We are all one human Grinch. We're all
stuck on the chairlift, man, with a bag bowl of soup.
We are the embodiment of the Grinch.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a Jeffrey Tambor joke there, right? But I couldn't think of one in time.
What an altruistic daughter you have there, Lou.
Who hasn't even grown into her nose. We're gonna believe an 8-year-old girl.
Dude, I totally missed my opportunity to propose to Jesse and then turn around, randomly come up with a microphone and say, and you'd also receive this.
It's a car.
A new car. Brought to you by the taxpayers of Whoville.
Yeah.
I love the idea. Martha May. Hello.
She had a little green fetish.
Little Whovier.
Yeah. Look, Steven, you don't have to worry about this because I highly doubt they're going to put Wednesday games next year on the docket for Christmas. This is just because the calendar fell in line with this. It's been the last few years. I remember they put a game on Friday afternoon between the Saints and Vikings, where if you guys remember, Alvin Kamara scored like 6 touchdowns. It was like an all-time fantasy day. That was just like a one-time thing. And then Christmas fell on Christmas Eve. And Sunday fell on Christmas Eve. No, wait, what was it last year? Whatever it was. No, wait,
That was this year, Derek. That was this year. You're thinking this
Yeah,
year.
sorry, I got my days and my years and my time all confused. Last year, all the games were on Saturday because Christmas was on a Sunday, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
And then this year, Christmas Eve is on a Sunday, so they put the whole slate on there, and then just 3 games on Monday. It's not going to happen every year where the NFL monopolizes Christmas Day. But you know what? The reality is they can. So why wouldn't they do that? And also, I hear you. For those of you like you, Steven, that actually have lives and families, that fucks up with your time. But for people like me who had the Napa trip ruined, it was perfect. So everybody that has lives and families, go fuck yourself. But for us people that don't have families or lives, give us our football and shut up.
All right, I'll do the latter. I'll shut up then. All right, you make a very fair point. Shout
man,
out to all of those without spreading that Christmas cheer with their fams. Sorry.
There you go. No, it's all good. And yeah, my Napa trip got ruined, but I still had a great time with my brother. Shout out Nick. So look, I hear you. I mean, yeah, is it a lot from 10 a.m. to whatever time the game ended last night? 8:45. What?
Hang on. Hang on. Whoa. Okay.
Yeah,
All
right?
right. Sorry. I got us streaming live on Instagram. I apologize. I just had a whole thing with Instagram Live, but I got us streaming live on there. So you can catch us on Twitter. You can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on Instagram. We are everywhere.
Okay, but are we on Threads?
We're not on Threads.
Jesus, Steven, dropping the ball on that, whatever the hell that is.
Sorry.
So yeah, I hear you, but it's not going to be every year. Not going to be every year where this is the case. I guarantee you. I doubt, because we have a leap year, I believe, this year, or whatever it is. No, that wouldn't be a leap year. Just like I said, normal. No, wait, is it a leap year when they take a day away in February?
Yes.
Okay, that's not the case this upcoming 2024. There will be Christmas, I think, falls on a Wednesday next year, and I'm pretty sure there won't be any NFL games. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm that guy. I can't believe I'm that guy.
Hey,
but
turn
I
into
couldn't
that guy. You're Mark Cuban now.
That's good.
Yeah, you're about to go 50% with the QVC lady. Am I saying that right?
What?
I fucked up that reference. Who's the girl on, or the woman, I should say, on
Lady
Shark
Addison.
Tank?
Lady Adelson.
Is she the one that's on QVC? Is that the name of the channel?
What are you talking about?
What's the infomercial channel? Well, they just sell shit the whole fucking day. QVC, right?
I guess.
All right, that was my
Does Cuban
reference.
own that too?
No, but every time they make a deal on Shark Tank, he's like, I'll go 50-50 with Lori or whoever.
Oh, I got you. I thought you were trying to make some sort of.
It's always bad when you have to explain the joke. So yeah.
I thought you were trying.
Yeah,
to
Rocket
go
New
with
Era's got me. Yeah, QVC. I got it. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
So-
you got
yeah, so-
Ernie 2. You have Ernie 2's approval, so that works.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Hold on. We got a new guy in the chat, Nathaniel. Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey, shout out to Nathaniel.
He says, what? LOL. All right. So besides your curmudgeon-y ways and Grinch-like ways for Christmas, how did you enjoy Christmas, Steven?
Always enjoy Christmas. Because it's all about the number one thing, gifts. And we got a good amount of gifts this year.
Gifts.
Gifts.
I hang myself with all the bad neckties.
No, dude. It was a grand old Christmas, but as Jesse and I were driving home, just spent it with my at my mom's house with my brother, his lovely wife, and their 2 beautiful, very loud children. As Jesse and I were going home, it's like, all right, well, it's over. it never really feels like, and this is me as just in my more adult life, but it never really feels like I embrace the holiday season as much as I can. It just kind of happens. Like I'll be I'll be honest, the gift that I got for Jesse still hasn't arrived in the mail yet. So that's a problem.
Well,
I'm not
between
gonna
you
hear-
and me, what did you get her?
between you and I'll give you a hint. I'm
Between
not
you, me, and the Ernies, and everybody else in the chat.
I'm just not going to be transparent with what I got her. That's all I'm going to say.
You got her the box set of the show Transparent
Correct.
with Jeffrey Tambor. See, full circle.
Wow. Nice work.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. So wait, but you're
Mhm.
saying you don't feel like you get into the Christmas spirit or any holiday spirit for that matter?
It just happens so quick. You know, it's like time moves so fast, and then all of a sudden it's December, and you're moving on to Christmas Eve, and it's like, holy crap, I haven't even wrapped anything. What do I do? But we got a bunch of the movies this year. Listened to a little bit of the music towards the end, so it was overall a good Christmas. It's just just happened so fast.
It comes and goes, definitely,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of over gifts at this point in my life. Like we all know the deal. Like I know the old saying is, "Don't talk about Santa Claus on the radio." So I won't ruin that for any young viewers here. But we all know the deal. Like, what are we doing here? Like, all right, gifts, cool. You bought shit for me. Show me what you really like. Show me that you love me with appreciation, not this gifts shit. And also, I'm very lazy when it comes to shopping, so I just don't get any.
Yeah, but the whole point of Christmas is to give gifts. And so that person, whoever you're giving the gift to, hey, I love you this many dollars worth.
Yeah.
That's a Michael Scott line from The Office.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Went over my head. But Office is good.
We had a Secret Santa with our family from England.
Oh, yeah?
And that's always a mess. Just every time. And no one knows like how to send gifts to America. One time my brother, the first year that we did it, my brother didn't understand the idea of like ordering from amazon.co.uk. Instead, he ordered from amazon.com and he had it shipped from the US over to England and had to pay like, I don't know, somewhere in the triple digits just to get it sent to England, a little $20 gift. Like it's the hilarious thing. It was the most hilarious thing ever. But I got a massage gun. Sick.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to use it for. Maybe I should work out and like, kind of use my muscles so they can get sore and actually use the massage gun for something.
What about your broken shoulder?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah. See?
I know what I'm doing after the pod.
Using that massage gun.
Yeah.
On your butt. All right.
I did, believe me.
So like
it was the first thing.
How many times have I seen that damn commercial for that new terrible show coming out with John Cryer and Turk from Scrubs where he's using a massage gun on his butt?
Probably a lot. I don't even remember what
every Sunday Night Football they're showing ads. Or if you have Peacock. By the way, I'll get into my Peacock adventures this past week.
Oh, your Peacock ventures.
My Peacock, baby, the cock of the walk, baby. Bruce Dickinson.
Cock Ventures by Derek.
Yes, that's what we'll call the segment, the Cock Ventures. All right, let's get to some football, Stephen, because that's what Christmas is all about, right? From Saturday to Monday. But before we do, we forgot to pick the Thursday night game between the Saints and Rams. I think both of us would have picked the Rams, right?
The Sunday night, the what?
The Thursday night game. The Thursday night game between the Saints and Rams.
Yeah. The Rams were rolling. Would have picked the Rams.
Exactly. And they're impressive. Matthew Stafford's actually playing pretty well. Maybe comeback player of the year. Well, but because of that, we forgot to put that in. But we picked our other games, and as fate would have it, you and I are tied up all together, 16-16. So we could do a tiebreaker. Or I thought it'd be fun if both of us do the hot sauce challenge, where one of us has to eat the hot sauce when we talk about the Raiders, and one of us has to eat the hot sauce when we talk about the Niners.
Sounds good to me. I forgot I'd need a vessel for that. You know those little tostadas that I've been using over
You're
the
out?
past few weeks? No, I'm not out. They just went really stale.
Mm,
So I
that'll
threw
happen.
those away.
Well, while
I
you do that, why don't I filibuster?
I got a little cookie platter. Maybe I got a cookie platter yesterday. Maybe a
Go
little
ahead and find something.
peanut butter blossom with a Hershey's Kiss in the middle.
God,
Maybe
you're
put a
gonna ruin
little
that
hot
cookie,
sauce on that.
yeah, you're gonna ruin the cookie though.
Ooh, you know what I got? I got cheddar cheese rocket crackers, aka Trader Joe's Goldfish. How about that?
That's not bad.
All right,
Rocket
I'll go with that.
crackers. All right, go get that. In the chat here, True Blue Forever. What's up, True Blue? I see you in the KNBR chat from time to time. Stafford comeback of the year? How? Well, I'll tell you. He didn't play a lot last year, and a lot of people thought that his career was over because he had the neck injury. So yeah, I could see Matthew Stafford winning comeback player of the year.
What about Flacco?
Flacco's having a really good season too, but he hasn't played the majority of the season. Although I'll get to him a little later. He's been impressive.
Yeah, come on, man. I mean, is there like maybe another award? Because I would have given
The
this
Hey,
to,
we forgot about you award.
yeah, the comeback player off the couch award, because
Yeah.
he was just sitting on his couch. I would have given that to Deshaun Gibson last year, just because Gibson was literally on his couch when he got the call from
That's
Shanahan and Lynch. So
That's not
at
bad.
least-
I actually like that. The off the couch award of the year.
the off the couch comeback player of the year. We need
That's
to come
not
up
bad.
with we need to come up with some year-end NFL awards that are like our awards. You know, screw the MVP, screw
Oh,
the
no.
DPOI,
Oh, dude, I got it all planned. You and I will be doing the JWOMs at some point.
the JYOMs. You mean the JYOMs?
Oh, yeah. Either what I say, WOMs or like
You said
W,
WOMs. That would
like
make it a
Wombo, he, she,
that-
me, Wombo, the study of wombology.
good God, Derek. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm just a reference king tonight, man. Going from QVC to SpongeBob. Yes, the JYOMs. The JYOMs.
The
That's what it's called.
Joms.
The Joms, baby. How much Jom you got? No, well, the reality is that DeMar Hamlin's probably going to win comeback player of the year.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You actually, we were when we were picking our before the season awards. I think I like picked somebody, and you were like, "It's gonna be DeMar Hamlin, dude. What the fuck are you talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, you got a good point."
Ooh, True Blue. I like this one. The Jommy.
It's not
The
bad.
Jommy Awards.
Yeah,
You got to put a Y at the end of it. It's got to be like
the
Grammy.
Jammies.
The Jommies.
Jammy.
Hell yeah.
All right. we will have the first annual Jammies.
You know, this is I could feel it, Eric. This is one day going to be the most prestigious award. We're not going to be having these debates through talk shows on whether Brock Purdy or Christian McCaffrey deserves MVP. ESPN, FS1, hell, Good Morning America, they're all going to be talking about who deserves the Jommy. It's a quarterback award, Derek.
Is it though? We haven't really established it yet. We'll figure that out in time. Do you want to do the hot sauce punishment now for the Raiders, or I could do it now for the Raiders, or we can have one do it for the Niners? What do you want to do, Steven?
Oh, you know what? You do it for the Raiders. How about that? Because I chose the last game correctly. When everyone was zigging, I zagged, and I had Baltimore winning.
You were
yesterday.
Ziggy. You were Ziggy Marlin. Or Marley, I should say. Jesus, I'm all over the place.
You're
all
off
right,
that
Steven.
Stardust right now.
All right. I got a nice tasty carrot to put my dab on.
That's not bad.
Yeah. So, Steven, give us your 2 cents on a big win that I was not expecting. And actually, you took the Raiders to cover. Did not pick the Raiders to win,
Nah.
but you did see a close game. So tell me your thoughts. Raiders win 20-14 over the defending champs, Kansas City Chiefs.
I think that, I mean, obviously it was huge just for the morale of the team. I enjoy watching them have fun. It's great, but there's a couple of things. One, the Minnesota Vikings, why do I keep on thinking it's the Vikings? I even said that earlier today when I was talking to someone. But their win against the Chargers, and we said that with this whole podcast after the game on Thursday night. That win over the Chargers, when they put up a franchise record, 63 points, we felt, the Raiders deserve some credit, but that was more of an indictment on the Chargers. And I feel the same way about the Chiefs. I think this win was way more of an indictment on the Chiefs. Look, how often is it that you're going to have your quarterback who's young, who's a rookie, whatever it is, rookie, second year, third year, and they have their career worst start? That was about as bad of a start for Aiden O'Connell as it's been so far in his very, very young career. Yet you managed to beat the defending champs. That's not because of your team. That's because the other team is in disarray, especially the offense. The defense, I'll say this for the Raiders, that's what sticks out again. The defense, what is this? This makes it like 5 games in a row where they have truly stood out, and Max Crosby doing Max Crosby things. This Jack Jones guy who was part of that high school team with Antonio Pierce when he was leading it in Long Beach, and then he was also with ASU along with Herm Edwards. Maybe they found something in this dude because he just continues to make play after play. The cigars were out again. And look, I really didn't make much of it as it was going on yesterday because, well, I was also, I was cooking for Christmas. So I was paying attention, like half paying attention.
I'll be cooking for Christmas. What did you cook?
It was just potatoes. So I was cooking, and a very special kind of potatoes. It was a mashed potato au gratin. But as I'm watching it, or at the end of it, I didn't find myself caring all that much. I was just like, all right, you get another win. Your draft stock is or your draft status rather is going lower. You're going to get a lower pick. It's going to make it harder to get a quarterback. You might have to give up more if you want to trade up. But then I see today there are plenty of scenarios. If the Raiders win out, then they can make the playoffs. And if they win out, which is a huge if, because you got Indianapolis and you got Denver, but they are 2 very winnable games. You need to have a lot happen. Primarily, you need to have the Chiefs lose at least 1. But the fact that the Raiders are in the playoffs, it's remarkable. You're never going to find a team that's unloaded their head coach and general manager as early as Halloween, and they're potentially going to go to the playoffs toward the end of the year. So it's just been it's been a roller coaster of a season. But yesterday's game, it shows they got some heart. Antonio Pierce really knows how to connect with these players. It's obvious that they really love this guy and they play hard for him. And Patrick Graham is as good as he was advertised. Didn't really see it last year. I don't know what clicked this year, but kind of like he did with the New York Giants, and what made him such a highly coveted coordinator is he's doing it with not that much talent. So it's an interesting season, to say the least.
I hear you, Steven. All right. I got the last dab on my carrot right here, as you could see. I don't know the Scoville's True Blue Forever. Whatever Hot Ones has the Scoville. I think it's unidentified of how many Scovilles are on there. But it's hot. Yeah. And by the way, I would love to try a Carolina Reaper. All right. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can't really soak up the sauce and the chip.
This is like a Bugs Bunny audition gone wrong.
What's up, Jack? Okay.
Ew. Ooh. It's gross.
All right. It was the biggest Raider. Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry for the hiccups.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was the biggest Raider road win in quite some time that I can remember.
Yeah.
And I also can't remember the last time the Raiders had 2 defensive touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. I don't think it's ever happened.
I don't think I got that's with. I mean, was it 2 of the same exact players? It was Bilal Nichols and Jack Jones.
It was John Jenkins last week. On the
sorry.
And then Bilal Nichols, but then Jack Jones with back-to-back pick sixes. His story is incredible, by the way. Antonio Pierce, knowing him in high school and college, and now getting together in the pros, quite remarkable. Look. Yes. I'm not going to say it's the same thing as like it's an indictment more on the Chiefs than it is the Raiders. Believe me, the Chiefs are in trouble. Like offensively, they got some issues. Like at this point, I think the only guys that Mahomes really has confidence in throwing to are Travis Kelce and Rasheed Rice. That's about it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But I am really impressed what the Raiders did yesterday. Going into Arrowhead, where they have had problems with that team for years now. And to win in December, like the last time they beat the Chiefs, you'll remember, was what's up, Alon? Alon's in the chat. You remember the last time they beat the Raiders, or the last time the Raiders beat the Chiefs was, I believe, in 2020 when Gruden was still head coach, and it was just bombs away with Henry Ruggs with Derek Carr. This is different. I think that was in October or September. For this game, for this win to happen in December, when the Chiefs are trying to get past all the bullshit that they've been dealing with and try to like get ready for the playoffs. This was impressive. And yes, the offense was putrid, absolutely terrible. But I don't know, man. Like Antonio Pierce is making his case here. Like I was impressed with how there were multiple times where the Chiefs could have gone back in that game. Like right before halftime, they could have had the kick to make it down by 7. They could have had that field goal in the fourth quarter. They chose not to do it. They went for it on fourth down, didn't get it. They could have cut the lead to 3. Oh God, I'm losing saliva.
Ew.
But everything that could have shut up, Steve. I don't make you feel bad when you fucking have all this shit in your mouth. The reality is the Chiefs had multiple chances to get back in that game, and the Raiders just took it from them. Now, yes, Aiden O'Connell did not complete a pass in the second, third, or fourth quarter. His final stats were he was 9 of 21 for 62 yards. So there's room to improve on the offensive side of the ball.
Oh, you think?
Yes, I'll get to all that. But as far as Patrick Graham and what he's done with his defense from where it was a year ago, I'm very impressed. This is probably the best Raider defense we've seen in probably 20 years. This is probably the best Raider defense since the 2002 team that went to the Super Bowl. Like there was defenses here or there, but I don't know, man. Like from top to bottom, they've improved everything. They're a better rush defense, something I've never seen with the Raiders. Yeah. Max Crosby has established himself as one of the best defensive linemen of football.
Mm-hmm.
But now, you texted me this. Malcolm Kuntz, I mean, him. Is it Malcolm or Michael?
It's Malcolm, it's
right?
Malcolm. Sorry.
Yeah,
Malcolm. I get excited thinking about the Kuntz.
Him opposite Max Crosby, I think, is a pretty good duo right there. Like, he got 3 sacks yesterday. His sack numbers are ridiculous right now. And they'll work in Tyree Wilson. Secondary is the best it's been in quite some time. They got rid of Marcus Peters because he was Olay in tackles. But I don't know, man. This is a pretty good defensive unit. They just need to find an offense to build upon because I think Devontae Adams had like 1 catch for 4 yards yesterday. Yeah, terrible. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he wasn't happy, but they won. So in the end, I think that, yes, the Chiefs are reeling right now. They have a lot of issues offensively. And Mahomes is upset. Taylor Swift is upset after games too. And I don't like the whole narrative of, I think it's bullshit. Travis Kelce hasn't played well since she's been his life. Whatever, dude. The whole team is not playing well right now. So, yeah. I'm not going to say it's like last week when the Raiders were just beating up on the Chargers, like it was pistol whipping a blind kid when the Chargers didn't give a shit about Brandon Staley.
Why do you got to use that analogy every time?
Because I love that analogy from Tropic Thunder with Matthew McConaughey. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Tugger. No, it's like pistol whipping a blind kid. That's what it is. This, I think, was different. This, I think, was the Raiders going into Arrowhead and kicking their ass and being like, all right, you can't fuck with us right now because we got a tough team.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference in with the defense, well, number one, it is after all Max Crosby, right? You can't deny that he has just been, I don't know, Khalil Mack was damn good. Actually, I watched a highlight reel of that someone posted, a compilation from him at his time with the Raiders. It can be easy to forget how powerful he was, but Mack did not have the motor that Crosby has. This dude's just nonstop every single play. It's just every time he's right up there in hurries, he's up there in pressures, he's up there in sacks. Only Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons have more hurries than he does. He has 14 sacks on the year, but also you're getting some. I'd just say, I'm not even going to say like it's good compared to NFL standards, but I'm just saying decent enough play from your linebacker and Robert Spillane, and Amik Robertson has taken a huge step forward as your cornerback. And then Jack Jones has just been a revelation. But I think that's all due thanks to Patrick Graham. And I think the coordinators you're seeing right now with the Raiders and the Chiefs on offense is making a huge difference at this point. Like Patrick Graham has just done everything to change up. And I'm not even going to act like I know all the intricacies of defense. But what I know is this team is flying to the football. They're making tackles for once. Plus, but we got to at least admit that the Chiefs' offense is just well out of sorts. The offensive line, in Patrick Mahomes, I've never seen Mahomes act like that towards his offensive line before. Yeah. There's that moment where he's basically telling his offensive coordinator to call the fucking play. So they're in disarray right now, but that's the perfect time for the Raiders to strike. Just because they're in disarray doesn't mean we should take away from everything the Raiders defense has done. I think it's been like 37 trips into the red zone, and they've only given up 1 touchdown in those trips. Could be wrong on that one, but they're just light years ahead of where they were at right now. And by the way, let's give a shout out real quick. Where's he at? Michael Connell asking us, is this Papa in Lund? I don't know if he's still here anymore. He actually put a Twitter comment on here.
Oh, yeah.
He put a Twitter comment on there. You could actually comment through Twitter nowadays, and it actually shows up in our feed. So shout out to Michael. But just to give people a little backstory, it's kind of wild for me personally, because Michael and I were in the same major in college, and he was my guy back when I was like, I don't know, 21, 22, before I even joined 95.7. And then you and I became pretty cool whenever I reached 95.7. Then a few years later, Michael's like, hey, I'm working at KMBR. And now you two are working together. Worlds collide. Small world
collide
here in Northern California. So shout out Michael.
Michael's doing great things at KMBR. And by the way, Michael, we could use a little topic bar for this little chat we going on right now for just your opinion, man. If you want to make it, that'd be nice. Steven, I hear you on everything. And yes, the Raiders caught the Chiefs at the right moment. They are in trouble offensively. The only touchdown I believe they scored, well, later on it was just to Watson, but that first half touchdown was on that weird fake play where there was the end around where Pacheco was going to give it to somebody else, but he just kept it and ran it in himself. So it was just an easy way to get in the end, or actually was a very creative way to get in the end zone. But that's what Andy Reid has to resort to now to get this offense going, is not just the basic of Patrick Mahomes shotgun throw. It's now my receivers can't catch the fucking ball. So now I have to find ways to get this offense moving and grooving, but it's not working right now. The Raiders defensively are kicking their ass, but let's go back to the offense. Yeah, I mean, Aiden O'Connell, it's been nice, but this guy is definitely not a starting quarterback. And I don't I want to say the stat was that the 2005 Giants were the last team to win a game without completing a pass after the first quarter in like a rainstorm, whatever game it was.
What was that, with Brandon Jacobs?
Brandon Jacobs and Eli Manning. I don't know the game itself, but yeah, I mean, I know the Chiefs' defense is tough, but for Aiden
Barber,
for Aiden O'Connell to, finish the game the way he did, 9 of 21 for 62 yards, whatever it was, he needs help. And Devontae Adams didn't play his best game. I'll admit that. Like he, kind of, there were moments where the ball wasn't put in the right spot, but he's a great wide receiver. He should bring that in. But it's taken time for him to get used to subpar quarterbacks throwing him the football. I will say that that's my biggest worry with this team going forward, is they just need to figure out the offense. But they took a big step forward yesterday to go into Arrowhead and to kick their ass the way they did. It was physical all the way around. They sacked Mahomes. Like I said, Malcolm Kuntz had 3 sacks. Zaire White, the guy that you have question marks about. Josh Jacobs did not play. And in the end, Zaire White busted a big run to get them that victory. Finished with 135 yards or 145 yards.
Uh-huh.
So that's kind of leaning in the direction, I believe, of maybe we bring back Josh Jacobs. Maybe we don't. If it costs too much money, we drafted this guy to replace him. It's easy to move on. We'll see about that. But all in all, I think what we're getting at is this team is playing hard for Antonio Pierce. And you and I have said the last few weeks that despite the 63-21 win over the Chargers, they need a new head coach. We thought that way for the majority of the time with Antonio Pierce as head coach, from their beatdown of the Giants to their beatdown of the Jets to their beatdown of the Chargers. But this one's different. To be Patrick, like the biggest thing that I've been saying is, can Antonio Pierce go toe-to-toe with Andy Reid and scheme it up to counteract what brilliant mind that Andy Reid is? And yesterday was just one game, but I was very impressed. So when the resume gets to be bigger than you beat Tommy DeVito, you beat Zach Wilson, you beat Easton Stick, now you beat Patrick Mahomes. So now I ask you, Stephen, after yesterday, do you think Antonio Pierce deserves this job?
I'm trending in the direction that he should. I look, I'm never going to subscribe to the whole idea that if they hired Rich Bisaccia as head coach, then they would have been a successful team the following year. They were good, but like you got to take a lot of things into account. Like he wouldn't have fixed Derek Carr and turned Derek Carr, into I don't know. He was clearly running out of gas, so to speak, just to keep up with the Carr term. But look, if you get rid of this interim coach, it feels like he wanted to be a head coach. It felt like Bisaccia never wanted to be a head coach. Bisaccia was a special teams coordinator for however long, 30 years or whatever that crazy number was. Like he was doing what he loved. He didn't need to be a head coach. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot that goes with it. I don't think he wanted that job. Maybe he did, but I don't think he truly did. I said this at the beginning when Pierce came in as the interim. Maybe this is a time when, kind of like, let's just say Justin Herbert, when he got his chance after the doctor accidentally punctured the lung of Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a chance where Antonio Pierce is kind of built for this, kind of built to be a head coach. Because, man, right now, when you watch those, I think, I know it's just a post-game locker room speech, but you could tell when teams are locked in to what they're saying. And those guys are locked into Antonio Pierce, man. They're listening to every word. They seem to really believe in him. I think what the Raiders need, keep Antonio Pierce as head coach, but get some offensive mind. Find somebody who could be the next Ben Johnson. Find someone who could be, I don't know, the next Mike McDaniel. Find your Bobby Slowick. Find somebody like that to lead this team next year. Because Antonio Pierce, good God, does he have that one segment of head coaching down, which is being a leader of men. He really is. So I am really trending in the direction of having Antonio Pierce right there.
I am as well. And it's hard to argue against it because what's his record? He has 4 wins. Yes, he did coach that game where they lost 3-0. But this defense is playing with a swagger that I've never seen him have before. So the offense needs to improve. It's the defense that has been solidified. So I would say minor adjustments here or there for the 2024 season, but bring back Patrick Graham and just make additions here or there. But as far as, yes, Antonio Pierce, I'm with you, Stephen. I think that while Rich Bisaccia was the right guy for that moment with thank you, Alon. He's 4-3 as head coach. Thank you. While Rich Bisaccia was the right coach for that moment when they were dealing with everything with Gruden, and he was a good guy, and he got him through everything with the motivation of the team, and they finally got to the playoffs. They, lose that game against the Cincinnati Bengals. I think really the only way that Rich Bisaccia was going to keep that job is if they went to the AFC Championship or something, because that team was attractive with Derek Carr, And I mean, the whole contract situation, but people wanted to go have that job. And Josh McDaniels was attracted to that. And it felt like a slam dunk hire at the time. Like, there's only, like, I understand the players wanted Rich Bisaccia to stick around, but when you announce Josh McDaniels, former offensive coordinator for Tom Brady, is going to coach the Raiders, you're like, well, damn, that's an upgrade. Okay, let's go with that.
Yeah.
And then in the end, Josh McDaniels sucked. So I understand all that.
Yeah.
This is different because Antonio Pierce has established himself as a Super Bowl champion, as a player, and he's been around some great minds of football. He's got Tom Coughlin being around him now. He's got Marvin Lewis being around him now. So they're not on the staff, but they just come to check him out in Vegas. And the players play hard for him. There's no doubt about that. He has basically changed the mentality of that team. He makes Devontae Adams interested. He makes Max Crosby interested. I don't always enjoy, but after we win now, they're playing the cigars. And by the way, I just love the awkwardness of Max Crosby with all of his black teammates singing that song.
Yeah.
The song they were doing. That's it.
Yeah.
That's that shit I don't like. And he's like, got to hum along with it. It's like, I can't say the words, but yeah, let's go. I do like the swagger they have now as a team. The one thing I worry about with Antonio Pierce is this going to translate to a full season next year? When Antonio Pierce, he's not just galvanizing a team. He's not just doing the rah-rah speeches. He's not just telling everybody this is the way things used to be with Josh McDaniels. We're doing shit this way now. Is that going to resonate for an entire season? The thing that I worry about the most is if it's going to be a Mike Singletary situation. And what I mean by that is, if you Niner fans remember, in 2008, they fired Mike Nolan at the beginning of the season. And then Mike Singletary took over as head coach. He had the whole thing with Vernon Davis, and he got them playing well. I think they finished 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming off of that, Jed York was like, well, this is my guy. So then the next year, they played better, but they still were 8-8. And then he couldn't figure out the quarterback situation. He was not an X's and O's guy. He was more of a disciplinarian. So on the sideline, he would just chew guys out. He couldn't decide between Alex Smith and Troy Smith, which was like at the time, like, what the hell are you talking about? It's obviously Alex Smith. That's the stuff that I worry about. Is Antonio Pierce going to be more than just the motivator? Like, I feel like that's basically the job. Like, I think that's what we thought Dan Campbell was going to be, but he's more than that. Like, he understands what needs to be done on offense. He understands what needs to be done on defense. And I've heard stories where Antonio Pierce is on the treadmill with Bo Hardegree trying to understand the offense a little bit more. So that is encouraging. But when you bring up they need an offensive-minded or an offensive coordinator to help them out, then yes, of course, every team needs that now.
Yeah.
But that's the most appealing thing that owners want and general managers want. So when the Raiders hire this, next offensive coordinator that's going to rejuvenate their offense, what's to say that this guy doesn't end up getting a job and then we're at square one again, and then Antonio Pierce doesn't look that appealing? That's the same thing we're dealing with, I think, with Detroit, where some people are wondering, should the Lions get rid of Dan Campbell and elevate Ben Johnson as the head coach? There's just things like that you worry, where it's like, okay, if you take one guy away, then things fall apart. The same thing with like Nick Sirianni and the Eagles right now, where Shane Steichen's gone.
Yeah, but I think that's worth the risk more than what they'd be doing next year by trying to get an entirely new head coach and change up everything that they're doing. Like, I think that what you're talking about, that's almost a best case scenario. If they hire an offensive coordinator, the dude could potentially get a head coaching job the next year. But you also got to compound that with, making the right draft picks, making the right free agent signings, and doing all those different things. I don't know what Champ Kelly's like as a GM. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what Champ Kelly's like as a GM, but I don't know if that's going to be even your guy going into next season. But there's got to be a lot of things that go right. I think that's worth the risk. I don't want another guy like Josh McDaniels who is trying to rebuild his image. I don't want a guy who was trying to basically get himself away from the Patriot way, get with this huge ego who only thinks that his style works. Like with Jim Harbaugh coming into the NFL, sure, it's appealing to have a guy like Jim Harbaugh there, but it feels like Jim Harbaugh is going to try to just recreate who he was with the 49ers. And I wouldn't want to risk that with the players that the Raiders have right now. Because let's be honest, this team, talent-wise, they're very good at playing together, but individually, you're not going to sit here and say this team is just stacked with Pro Bowlers on each side of the ball. Yeah. This team just plays together. And I think Antonio Pierce is a huge reason for that, along with Patrick Graham. So I think that is absolutely worth the risk. You could hire I don't know, maybe my brother, maybe his kids, Geneva and Anthony. Shout out to all of you guys who are listening right now. So I just had to give a shout out to them.
I was about to say, what?
Yeah, have my brother and Geneva and Anthony, his little 6-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son just roaming the Raiders sideline in the silver and black. Commitment to excellence.
That makes you kind of sweet, because then you could have like a whole, if the offense was prolific, it'd be the Geneva connection.
Dude, nice.
Yeah, see?
Yeah. No, it'd be the most adorable team in the NFL.
I don't know what this means for Champ Kelly. I don't know what his status is for general manager. There's going to be appealing names out there. I think like the number one name to watch out for a front office executive this offseason is probably Adam Peters from the Niners to leave the organization and get a GM role somewhere. Maybe it's the Raiders, maybe it's somebody else, but I don't know. That's something that would be interesting. As far as Antonio Pierce, though, yes, he needs an offensive-minded coach to help him out, to run that offense, to rejuvenate that offense. There's already connections with Jaden Daniels from LSU, bringing up Antonio Pierce in the Heisman ceremony trophy acceptance speech. But
it's just hard to watch those. It's hard to watch those videos with his post-game interviews with the locker room and stuff, and him just, tearing up, getting emotional, just seeing what it actually means to him to get those wins. It's so hard to just say, I don't want Antonio Pierce here next year. Then you just pop on the little post-game interview that he did after the game on what was it? What was it?
CBS.
Fox? CBS. It was CBS. That's right.
Tracy Wolfson.
It was Tony Romo and Ian Eagle. Yeah, the classic, Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. Jesus Christ, Steven. Tracy Wolfson doing the classic. So you got a lot of emotions running through you. Take me through those emotions right now.
That's a terrific question.
What are you, Andrew Luck? What was that?
I don't know what that was. But I'd pop on that video and I'd show them. Look what it means here.
Yeah.
You really want to just let this guy go just after a few games when they just beat the Chiefs 20-14 in Taylor Swift's house?
I mean, no doubt it means a lot to him. Like, I've changed my tune. When they originally made this hire, I was like, Antonio Pierce, the guy that called out the Raiders when he was a Giants linebacker. And I didn't know the whole backstory. I didn't know that he was a diehard fan and why, the Raiders mean a lot to him. So I get all that. But I just think about competing with Mahomes and Andy Reid. And yes, I'll even say Sean Payton, whoever the Chargers hire, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big name, whether it is Ben Johnson or Dan Quinn or even Jim Harbaugh. Is Antonio Pierce not riding the high of emotions? Is he going to be able to compete with these guys? And yes, I think he deserves the job, but I'm a little worried. And he needs to make the right hire at offensive coordinator. He needs to make the right selection with whatever quarterback he drafts. Like, let's be real. I think all Raider fans agree from what they saw yesterday, it was very impressive what happened. And Antonio Pierce deserves to be head coach. I'm with all that. But Aiden O'Connell's not the answer. He's a backup. He's maybe even the third string guy. We'll see what happens with Jimmy Garoppolo. They need to upgrade the quarterback position, and they need to find the right talent. So they need to be paired. Antonio Pierce needs to be paired with the right general manager. So if you go into this hiring process with already knowing Antonio Pierce is coming back as head coach, then you have to make a decision on, well, you're bringing Champ Kelly on as general manager because he already likes Antonio Pierce. Are you going to find a guy that, is going to challenge Antonio Pierce as a head coach, or just tell him these are the guys that we're going to play with? So, to me, I brought this name up before, and I tweeted out yesterday. Can Antonio Pierce who coached at ASU against this guy, not as the head coach, but as an assistant linebacker coach. Could he convince David Shaw to be his offensive coordinator? Is that something that David Shaw wants to do? I know he wants to be a head coach in the NFL. Is he willing to get his feet wet and kind of go back to, what he used to do back in the day of being an offensive coordinator, have to prove himself? I don't know. That would be very interesting, but he needs to nail the OC hire, definitely. So
Yep.
I am leaning in that direction, Stephen. I think he's a fantastic leader of men. I'm not, in particular, I am not a big defensive coach as head coach guy just because of what I just said. I believe that you can hire an offensive coordinator off the staff and then you're fucked.
For sure.
But if this is the guy that's right for this team, then I'm with it. You just got to
Right.
get everything else right.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what could happen with the Texans next year? Maybe they'll make the wrong hire at offensive coordinator, and CJ Stroud doesn't look like the same CJ Stroud.
That's
These are
assuming that
all-
Bobby Slowick leaves, but yes.
I think he's going to.
You think so?
Or maybe not. Because he didn't really end the season with CJ, so he probably wants another season with him to see how far they can actually go.
Wouldn't it be like the all-time dick move if the Panthers owner was like, God, I wanted CJ Stroud. I wanted Bryce Young to play like CJ, so I'm going to take Bobby Slowick now.
Bobby Slowick should pull a Josh McDaniels, pretend that he took the Panthers head coaching job, and then just go right back to Houston right at the end as soon as they hire him. I think all of those are very valid concerns. Look, I understand all of that, but where I'm at right now is, God, they got a guy who cares. And I always think back to like when I think of Josh McDaniels, there's a lot of things that happen with Josh McDaniels past year and a half when he was with the Raiders. But there's something that always stands out to me. And it was after the Raiders and Niners held joint practices. And this was specifically after McDaniels got fired. And I mentioned this on the podcast before, but Cam Inman, who's, one of the nicest guys in media.
How's your mother?
Cam, how's your mother? We got to get Cam on.
Love Cam.
He can rock a visor with the best of them, I'll tell you. But Cam said that when he went to Vegas, when he went to Henderson to training camp, it just looked flat. Just no energy in that offseason in preparation for the year. Like, I can't help but think of that. It's just, that's the type of juice they'll get this offseason. Of course, I understand all that. You want to get the right offense. You got to get the right quarterback. You got to get the right GM. You got to get everyone around him to be, you got to get everyone around him to get it clicking. But good God, what I could just picture is just a totally different season, starting on a totally different foot, and at least having the players energized for the year without any of this crap with Josh Jacobs worrying about the franchise tag, Devontae Adams going on the ringer and basically saying that, he's not happy with Jimmy Garoppolo as quarterback. Now that's taking it out of context, but that's basically what he said. Reading between the lines, Devontae, I'm sorry. Without any of that, just a clean slate. And you got Antonio Pierce, who I think is going to answer for all of that and just minimize any of the outside noise and just keep it in-house on the field. Like, that's what they'll need next season at the very least, and I think he's going to provide that for him. And I just like the guy. I don't know. I'm a little biased. I just like Antonio Pierce. I think he's a very just stern, straightforward. He has the makings of a head coach to me, and I think he's going to bode well here. I could see him being like a Mike Vrabel type almost,
I could see that too. I mean, it's kind of the same deal where, Mike Vrabel's a great coach, but he is defensive oriented, so he needs great offensive play callers to help him out. I'm not opposed to the idea. I just worry about it because the whole league is so offensive driven. But maybe maybe the Raiders need to go away from what everybody else is doing. Maybe they do need to make a hire like this. So I'm with it. I want to see how the season ends. I'm not expecting them to make the playoffs or win the division, but they're trending in the right direction. So I would be comfortable with Antonio Pierce as head coach. They just get everything else right. And they need a new. I'm with you, Stephen. Like, to start this, like, in the season like that, to have all the fun stuff post game with all the cigars and the music, to start that mentality in training camp, that could bode well for a season. So I'm with that.
I know we're going to get to the Niners in a short bit here, but I just got to mention, there's a new app that does like fantasy football. It's called Sleeper. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that's kind of I don't know. I don't know what it's trying to do, but I joined Sleeper in one of my leagues. Anyone who's in fantasy football has probably heard of it, but it's brand new. And they legitimately put Farva as Aiden O'Connell's picture
Yeah.
on the app. They actually put Farva from freaking Super Troopers. They actually put him there.
I think he has a T-shirt there where Aiden O'Connell says, "I look like Favre, but I play like Favre."
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully, I don't donate money like Favre as well.
Shout out volleyball. And then the other one is my favorite trend right now that's going around on Twitter, at least before Christmas, was the AI generated photos of kids opening jerseys, and they open ones
Yes.
of like Derek
Yes.
Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're crying. My favorite one was how someone gave a kid a Derek Carr jersey and all the families flipping him off while laughing at the same time as the kids just crying tears of death.
That's pretty good, but one that Tom Tolbert sent me and Adam Copeland and Tim Webb was a Giants baby opening a Correa jersey, a Judge jersey. I was like, that's pretty good, Tom.
Oh man. God.
Should we move over to the Niners now?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Oh crap. That means I gotta do this thing, huh?
You got
The whole-
time. I'm going to start with my spiel on it.
All right.
And you had a little ticker ready for the Niner game, but not the Raiders.
You remind me. You
right.
reminded me. So
You remind
Yep.
me of a ticker that
Mhm.
I once built. All right. I was not surprised by the outcome last night. Okay, I should rephrase that. Could the Ravens have won that game? Absolutely. But I was not expecting the beatdown that I saw last night and everybody else saw last night. I've been sleeping on the Ravens. I 100% have. I've been watching them for most of the season, and I haven't been impressed. I thought their defense has been playing well, but I never thought they were the best defense in football. Lamar Jackson's playing great. Never thought he was MVP. That is totally flipped from what I saw last night. I am more respect for their defense a week ago when I watched them kick the crap out of the Jaguars. Last night was even more impressive, getting 5 interceptions and bullying the 49ers. They kicked their ass. They were the more physical team, and it happened on the opening drive. The 49ers were doing their usual thing. Kyle Shanahan schemes up the first 15. George Kittle's wide open, makes the play, and then Purdy throws a bad interception in the end zone. And I know a lot of people are, trying to say, well, it was kind of crazy picks. It's both. Yes, those were crazy-ass picks that Brock Purdy threw last night. And what I mean by that is the defense made fantastic plays. The play where it's tipped up in the air and Marlon Humphrey catches it, it's not really Brock Purdy's fault. But at the end of the day, the Ravens just made him uncomfortable. And that's something we haven't seen a lot from Brock Purdy this year. And I know that Trent Williams got hurt later on, but even that opening drive when he had everybody, this is the first time where I was like, damn, the Ravens have figured out what the Niners offense is doing. And despite Brock Purdy throwing 3 interceptions in the first half, the Niners were still in that game. It was 16-12 at half. McCaffrey, like if we're doing the whole MVP thing, McCaffrey was keeping him in the game along with George Kittle.
Mhm.
But then things changed in the second half. And yeah, Purdy had a terrible game. He had his worst game. Is it going to kill him in MVP voting? We'll get to that in a little bit here. But yeah, they definitely threw him off his groove. Kyle Hamilton made 2 amazing plays. Marlon Humphrey made a fantastic play. Brandon Williams to come in and make Brock Purdy have to throw that ball while he's getting hit, and it's caught by Patrick Queen. The Ravens defense kicked their fucking ass. That's the truth. And I came away thoroughly impressed. Now, does that mean the Niners still can't win the Super Bowl? Can they still win the Super Bowl? Of course they can. They just got more out-physicaled by another team that wanted to go in there and prove something, where everybody was talking about the 49ers. They're 6-point favorites. Mike Florio says the Niners are going to kick the shit out of the Ravens, and they were motivated to go in and beat them, and they had a wake-up call. That's the reality.
Agreed. Do you want me to eat this hot sauce now?
Do it.
All right, fine. So I need to look back. When there was a Niners Thursday night game, I think was it the one against the Giants? Was it a Thursday nighter against the Giants?
They had 2 Thursday night games. The other one was Thanksgiving. So yes,
but it was the Giants, right?
Correctamundo in week 3.
All right. So all right. Let me get this hot sauce here. I'm
By the way,
going
while you're doing that, thank God, the ref tripped Lamar, because that was like the only offense besides the McCaffrey touchdown that helped the Niners out in the first half. That was like the only bit of offense they could generate.
Yeah, I hate when refs get in the way, man. Jesus, I'm trying to pour this damn hot sauce into the mini goldfish. It's pouring it a lot harder. Sorry, I wasn't really prepared for this.
Well, it's a
should
small
have been.
thing to aim for, just to put a little dab on there.
Very small vessel. I am
Also, that same ref, he's lucky that game wasn't close and the Niners won by 2, because otherwise people would be like, the hell's going on?
Yeah, or else you would have had like a Steve Kerr like outburst with like him saying it was disgusting.
I'm with Steve on that one.
I am too. I'm sorry, this is taking a while. Okay, I got a little on the finger there.
That's quite a bit. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Cheers, everybody.
He's eating a goldfish with hot sauce on it.
All right. Oh. Oh. It's like someone shoots a dart of fire in my throat.
Steven's noises just always get me.
Don't say that, you weirdo. Oh. This is a bad one.
All right. While Steven is struggling.
No,
While Steven's struggling. All right.
I'm good.
All right.
Thursday night. Okay. New York Giants. Thursday night, New York Giants. George Kittle was on the postgame show. George Kittle said, I challenge any team to out-physical us because you're not going to be as physical as we are. We feel like we are a very physical football team. There's no one who's as ferocious as us. There's no one as tough as us. And if someone feels like they are, then they can come into our house and try to be. Well, the Ravens did. This was the first time, in a long time, actually. First time in a long time. Just thoroughly from start to finish, the Ravens just were stronger, faster, ferocious, physical, all those adjectives, whatever you want to use. My vocabulary is not that
expanded
vast.
at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Starting to settle down a little bit. But I think you combine all of the weeks build up to it, and there wasn't any of this crap with the Eagles stuff. This team's complete. Everything. All phases of the game. Special teams, offense, defense. The Ravens were the most complete team the 49ers should face this year. And I think for the first time, you saw the defense actually get out-physicaled by the other defense. Mm-hmm. And I think you saw Kyle Shanahan just beat. You saw Kyle Shanahan out-coached. They were the Daft Punk song. They were harder, faster, better, stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Work it harder, do it, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. Well, they never power after. So, you got that to start. But, and it's true. This was Brock Purdy's career worst game. 4 interceptions, nothing to sneeze at. That was bad.
Okay, but let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think the Ravens defense just made better plays, or did Brock Purdy make terrible throws?
I think it's a mix of both, man.
I agree. And I think a lot of people are defending him today, saying like, well, the defense is just that good. But he also was rattled. I mean, like, it's also not a terrible thing. Like, yes, did he have his worst performance at the worst possible time? Yeah. I mean, like, well, actually, no, because the worst possible time would be in the playoffs. So you can learn from this. But no, the Ravens challenged him in a way that he hasn't been challenged as a quarterback yet. And I mean, we said that when he lost to the Vikings and the Browns and the Bengals. These are all growing moments for Brock Purdy.
Totally.
Sorry, can continue your point before I could.
Well, I think the interesting thing was you had McCaffrey get 14 carries, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think once Trent Williams went out, Shanahan's like, I don't need to run the ball. Like, I don't think we're giving enough credit to Trent Williams and just how good he's been blocking on the left side for McCaffrey. Like, it's the NFL's best safety net. If you're in, I don't know, second and long and need a manageable third down, or you're on first and 10 and you're deep in your own territory, it's the best safety net in the NFL to just hand it off to the left and get Trent Williams out in space, or just have him shed his blocks and let Christian McCaffrey run around him. You didn't have that. So I was willing to hear all of he needs more than 14 carries in every game, but they were without their best offensive lineman. And I don't think that Shanahan trusted Jalen Moore. And then once Jalen Moore went out, I think all of that went out the window.
Yeah.
So I think that played a huge role in it. I'm tired of the idea of you can't just use injuries as an excuse. No, it's not an excuse, but it's certainly an explanation. And I do find it fascinating how this team, with all of the weapons that they have, we just assume, no, you just take one out and they'll be fine. Like, you don't need every single piece, but you do. You do. You need Ayuk, Debo, McCaffrey. You need Trent. You need all of it to make this system work, because it all is one unit. They are all cogs to make this watch turn. You know what I mean? To make it rotate.
But is that realistic in order for them to win a Super Bowl, though? Because there's going to be times where guys get banged up.
That's the thing. I think that's the concern that I think that's a reasonable concern. You know, Brock Purdy, the big picture stuff, I'm not even going to try to dissect what he is as a quarterback at his worst, because we saw him at his worst, but we've also seen him at his best, and we've seen him at his best damn near every game except for a few this season. So I'm not going to make too much of that game for Purdy. I do think that stinger is something to concern with, though. Like you told me after the game, I think he got taken out for Sam Darnold, just straight up benched. He was healthy, but you see him walking out to the middle of the field. He had his left arm in that little pouch thing. He was clearly catering towards it.
He definitely was, and I probably made a bigger deal out of that than it needed to be. But I will say this. If you are having an MVP season and your team is only down by 14, I thought it was interesting that Kyle decided to roll with Sam Darnold. And it was a very interesting moment on the sideline where Purdy wasn't told he's out of the game. He had to go to Kyle and be like, so what's the deal here? And Kyle's like, look, we're doing this. And it makes sense. He has the stinger. Offensive line is depleted, and he doesn't want to get Purdy more hurt. But it's also, if you really believe in your quarterback, then, and it's only a 14-point game, then maybe you do leave him in. But I'm not making a huge deal out of that. And I think Purdy's fine.
I don't want to steal this take from my brother, but I'm going to, because he mentioned it, and I think it's a very good point. Like, if you're complaining about running the football, I'm sorry, but if you don't run the football, your MVP should be able to get you out of it. So it's pretty clear that a lot of people were just choosing Purdy because the quarterback is just supposed to win the MVP, and it's a quarterback award. Because you don't say that when you have your most valuable player at quarterback. You don't say we needed to run the damn ball more. Your most valuable player is clearly McCaffrey. I think I think that game showed this more than anything. And again, I don't want to make too much of Purdy's 4 interceptions. Like, it was a terrible game, and sure, he did it in fewer than 20 attempts, which was only done by Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Sam Howell, and I think Jake Luton was another guy that did that too.
Shout out Jake Luton.
Yeah, right. But like, I understand all that, but we've seen way too much from Purdy just to like sour on him now. I do think there's a little concern with what's going to happen in the Super Bowl, because the AFC has proven that their defenses are among the top of the league. And you look at, I mean, except for, I'm not even going to count Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's not a top defense. I actually looked it up earlier. They are one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL without Jesse Bates over there at safety. But whether it was the Browns, whether it was the Bengals, and now the Ravens, we have seen Purdy flustered by some of these AFC defenses that he's not used to seeing. And the NFC competition that he might see in the playoffs, I don't know if that's going to prepare him enough to say the 49ers do make the Super Bowl.
We'll see. I mean, if he faces the Eagles or the Cowboys, I do think that you'll see better defensive play.
Maybe, but I don't know if it's because
nothing is on the level of what the Ravens were yesterday. And let me just go back to what the Ravens are. I mean, you look at them, and it's clear that they have the best defensive football. And I know a lot of people love what the Niners have done this season. They did a good job. But just giving the ball to McCaffrey yesterday was going to make a difference, in my opinion. It wasn't the offense's fault that they lost that game. I mean, yes, Brock Purdy did throw 4 interceptions, but also at the same time, they were only down 16-12 at halftime. That defense, you okay there?
Yeah, just the Pistons just lost their 27th consecutive game.
New record, baby.
It sets the NBA record. So,
Hey,
you know
Monty
what? Shout
Williams
out to the
making all that
Pistons.
money.
We are fans of the Detroit Pistons on JYOM. They get the JYOM for the best team award. Woo!
And James Wiseman, not even a starter on that team. Oof.
Yeah.
But the Ravens, in the second half, the Ravens offense was kicking the crap out of the Raiders, or the Raiders. I'm so used to that. The Niners defense. Let's be real. The last 2 weeks, the Niners defense has not played well.
Nah.
You had who's my guy playing safety? Giving up a huge penalty to Isaiah Likely.
Oh God. Jair Brown?
No, not Jair Brown. Shit, why am I not thinking of his name? I'm terrible with names now. Good Lord.
Gibson?
Yes, Deshaun Gibson. Deshaun Gibson having a bad penalty. Fred Warner didn't have a great game tackling. They did not play well defensively, but they're also missing Eric Armstead. They just picked up Sebastian Joseph Day today to help with their interior, but yeah, they got pushed around. They got bullied, and it made me think for the first time in a long time, maybe the Niners can run into a team that's going to fuck them up a little bit, like the Ravens or any of these other AFC teams you're talking about, like the Buffalo Bills. I still think they're the cream of the crop of the NFC. Until I see otherwise, I'm still picking them. But also, now that they lost this game, you did have the luxury of going into that Week 18 game against the Rams and thinking to yourself, maybe we can rest some of these guys to get ready. And now it seems to me they're going to have to win this game, Week 18, to have home field advantage. And not only that, but maybe this game is for the Niners to get the number 1 seed and for the Rams to make the playoffs to begin with. And the Rams are hot right now. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the Rams go into Levi's and put up a fight and possibly steal that game to have the reverse of 2 years ago where the Niners needed that game and they sneak in. Yeah. So not that everything is doom and gloom with the Niners, but yesterday wasn't great.
No, it wasn't. This was a statement game for both teams. And the Rams are the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. You can't deny that. They are absolutely rolling as Stafford continues to get healthy, and Puka and Cooper Kupp still getting healthy too. It's a lot of that. And if you want, you could feel free to steal this when you get back, but you can feel free to substitute Joseph Day's name in for Lovely Day by Bill Withers. And I know it's gonna be Joseph Day. Okay. Anyway, Ravens.
I won't be stealing that from you. Don't worry.
God, I need to be in radio again. I am in radio. So sports radio where I could come up with songs and, all that. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh,
well, Brian Murphy wants me to be the new Polly Mack and come up with songs. So I may just steal that one.
Good luck, Brian Murphy. Yikes. So, I was thinking about this too. Lamar Jackson, just him running all over the field. The Niners defense not being able to stop him. I got to tell you something, Derek. You're not going to really like this. Okay. He is not one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen. But Lamar Jackson, as a football player, he is one of the best players I've ever seen. I'm a very young, I'm a young individual. I'm 30 years old, so I'm not going to act like I have some sort of, lifetime of NFL watching where I've watched since, through every single decade, and I've seen the total evolutionary shift of what football used to be and where it is now. I'm not going to
sell yourself short, Steven. You watched the Lions win their last division championship 30 years ago.
I was born.
That's what I'm saying.
Born the last time that. God, what a time. Yeah, I was born that year, dude. Like, I just think Lamar Jackson as a football player, the way that he's able to, just his athleticism, his vision, his speed, and the fact that he's even able to throw the football at all. I know you and I have talked about it, how he's not the greatest passer of the football that we've seen, but good God, anyone with those sort of skills and the fact that he's even able to throw the football at all,
Yeah.
he is one of the best players I've ever seen. And it's rare when you could say that about an individual. I actually kind of think the same thing about Christian McCaffrey. I think the same thing about Trent Williams too. They are truly one of the best, a couple of the best players I have ever seen. Debo might even be up there as well because Debo just does everything totally different. Just as an athlete, good God, man, he's ridiculous.
He is an incredible athlete.
Leave, man, just get
Exactly, explosives.
Mhm.
Lamar,
Choo.
I have been critical of Lamar, no doubt,
Mhm.
and I thought that he was deserving of MVP in 2019. Last night, I think everybody's in agreement that he should be the favorite for MVP at this point because, you know, he's been playing great. And Chris Collinsworth, was slobbering all over him a week ago saying like, oh, there's a guy in Lamar who doesn't do the same. Reality is he is the MVP frontrunner and his team is playing the best. His team has the best record. And I need to get over my own thing with running quarterbacks where I still haven't seen it, where primarily a running quarterback has won the Super Bowl. I think that Jalen Hurts changed up his style a lot last season, which led to him finishing second in MVP votes. Lamar has improved as a passer this season, no doubt. He has had his receiving core improved with Zay Flowers and Nelson Aguilar and Odell Beckham. He's doing it without Mark Andrews. Once Mark Andrews gets back, he'll feel even more comfortable. There's even talk about Zach Ertz joining that team with Mark Andrews out, but we'll see what happens with that. This is the best that Lamar Jackson has looked as far as being a passer, because even that MVP season where he threw 36 touchdown passes in that playoff game, I mean, the reality is that season they were a run-based offense. He threw a lot of touchdown passes because of the threat of the run. Between Mark Ingram and himself, they had a unbelievable running game, and they still do. It's not the big names that we're accustomed to hearing with the Ravens. Right now, it's Justin Hill and Gus Edwards. But Lamar still runs, but he's not running the same way. So last night I watched that offense for the first time, being like, damn, they're spreading it out. Todd Monken has improved this, and he's throwing very well. But as far as MVP goes, did Purdy hurt his chances last night of winning the award? I think that while he was the favorite and everybody's saying that he is having the best statistical season for a quarterback, I think there was a lot of negative thoughts about Brock Purdy winning MVP because I don't think everyone's buying him as some great talent. So I had my own skepticism about whether or not Brock Purdy was going to win that award. If the Niners would have won that game with Purdy throwing 3 interceptions, the case probably would have been made more for McCaffrey. I think that Lamar Jackson is definitely deserving of the award this season with how bad quarterback stats have been. But that's also an argument against him because if you look at his stats, quarterback-wise, he's thrown 19 touchdown passes. 19. Right. That's not a lot. I think the last quarterback to win MVP with 19 touchdown passes was John Elway in 1987. And by the way, Joe Montana threw 31 that season. The only reason why Joe Montana did not win MVP that season was because it was a strike year and Joe Montana crossed the picket line. So they gave it to John Elway. I don't know if stats need to go into play with this MVP this season. I think it's just what Chris Collinsworth was arguing about 2 weeks ago when he was saying they play well because of Lamar. The whole team is predicated on Lamar, and the Niners have so many great players. So, but also that argument of just Lamar beating Purdy last night. Okay, I'll ask you this upcoming week, it's another huge game between the Dolphins and Ravens, the two top teams of the AFC. If Tua beats Lamar, is he MVP?
That's the thing. Like if I was betting, I'd actually look at that Purdy line and say like, oh, he's plus money now. Yeah, I'll take that. I'd bet on Purdy actually because
of the stats.
Just because of the stats, and 2 weeks can change everything. Leading into this week, there wasn't even discussion that Lamar Jackson was even in the race. No, there's a little bit of it, but it was all like whether McCaffrey or Purdy's going to win the MVP. It wasn't anyone else.
Yeah.
And it's just one awful, awful game. But
Mhm.
the reality is there's still 2 games to go in this regular season. And, you know, this chairlift that we like to call 2023, it's reaching the apex of the mountain. And eventually, these guys are going to get off it. Who's going to get off unscathed? Is it going to be Purdy? Is it going to be Jackson? 2 weeks is a long time, man. 2
I
games
agree.
can change everything. Like, everything.
I don't think that Purdy's chances of winning MVP were killed last night,
Yeah.
but I do believe it took a hit, a significant hit. You know, throwing 4 interceptions, not a good look. But then again, you know, he was playing a great defense. But just as far as the 49ers going forward, yeah, I mean, you do worry about, like, you know, a season ago in the playoffs, Purdy didn't really have any bad performances in the playoffs. He had amazing first performance against the Seahawks. And then he struggled against the Cowboys, but it was McCaffrey that really led them in that game. So that's another argument for him as MVP.
Yeah.
It's just, will Purdy be thrown the kitchen sink in the postseason where he needs to rise above this systematic, you know, narrative and actually go take over a game? Like, will there be a point where this stat of Kyle Shanahan in the fourth quarter needs to be flipped?
Right.
These are all things that, you know, will be narratives in the postseason. As far as the 49ers, the biggest concern right now is injuries. Is Trent Williams going to play in this game against the Commanders?
Right.
And just
But-
other things like that.
But the Commanders are the best situation for a get-right game right now.
I know.
God, man, because they're like in the middle of trying to figure out whether they want to actually start a quarterback to win or they just wanted to develop Sam Howell and see if he's potentially the franchise guy. Like they're in a really, really weird spot.
Yeah, but Trent wants to play against his former team. But
Totally.
no, but I mean, like that. Not specifically about the Commanders. It's basically about, is Trent Williams going to be ready for the postseason? Like, they may need that Rams game to get them 1 seed and, you know, go toe to toe. Because right now, you know, the Eagles, the Niners, and the Lions are all 11-4. So there's, you know, obviously the Niners have tiebreakers against the Cowboys and Eagles, but now they have to keep winning, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, they were riding high before last night's game. They were clicking on all cylinders. I thought there was no argument to be had. Brock Purdy was, you know, playing his ass off, kicking the Eagles' ass and throwing for 4 touchdown passes and 300 yards and having the best stats wise for a quarterback this season. That took a turn last night. So we'll see what happens there. But here's the thing. I know we're going to talk about this because it's a big achievement in sports. The Niners shouldn't give 2 shits about MVP. And Brock Purdy shouldn't care about MVP.
But they don't.
What's that?
But they don't.
They don't, or they do?
They don't.
They don't care?
Yeah, it's pretty clear that they don't. Like,
And they shouldn't. And Niner fans shouldn't care either. You've seen quarterbacks win MVP before. You've seen Steve Young win 3 or 2, actually. You've seen Joe Montana win 2. It would be nice. It'd be a nice achievement to see, you know, on the NFL honors when Keegan-Michael Key does it the night before the Super Bowl. You just hope that Brock Purdy is doing a recorded video saying thanks for the MVP and not actually there. That's the important thing. This MVP award, I get it. It's nice, but it's not the goal. It's not what the most important thing is. You want Brock Purdy to be MVP of the goddamn Super Bowl. So if Lamar Jackson wins it, cool. He's got 2. But is he going to win the Super Bowl? That's what the most important thing is.
Totally. But if they don't win the and I'm just playing devil's advocate here because really I don't care either. But I do think that if they don't win the Super Bowl, like, I don't know, if they don't win the Super Bowl and Purdy wins MVP, do you think anyone would look back on that and like think, damn, what a great MVP season he had? Or all I could think about is they lost the Super Bowl. Who cares? Like
they lost the Super Bowl. Who cares?
Because I think it's a very interesting thing looking back on the MVP and just the way that it's looked at 30 to 40 years from now, you know, and you go down the list and you see who won MVP each year and you're like, damn, I remember when
Mark Mosley won.
You know what I mean? So I think for that sake of the argument, I think some people want it for that, just like it's validation. It's it's cool to win the MVP your second year.
No doubt.
They shouldn't care. And I agree with you. I really do. But just to play devil's advocate on the other side, like some people just, that validation is, I don't know, it's rewarding, you know, and you watch the entire season and it's you get what you get what you feel like he deserves. You know?
I feel like we're gonna have more argument and more debate and more dumb talking heads if Brock Purdy wins MVP to be like, does this kid deserve it? You plug
Yeah.
and play with any quarterback in there.
Yeah. No, that's just sports though, isn't it? Good God.
It is.
Can you imagine Stephen A. Smith if Dak Prescott wins the MVP and the Cowboys don't do anything in the playoffs? Actually, that'd be more fuel for him. So,
Well, I think Dak ruined his chances of that with the last 2 games.
yeah, that one against the God, he made some nice throws against the Dolphins, but yeah, crumbled in the end.
Should we do a little quick hits?
Do some quick hits, dude.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, one more thing, just random.
Go for
it. Deebo Samuel, 4 receptions on 12 targets. Can't have that. Moving on.
No, but he had a great recovery on Marlon Humphrey.
Yeah,
that guy, like Marlon Humphrey was talking some shit, and it wasn't actual like, real shit. Like he was on his podcast. I think he's just a troll. Like he said, like he has no respect for anybody on the 49ers.
Oh, that was totally out of
Exactly. Took it out of context. You watch the whole clip. He says, no. I mean, they got some dogs on that team, so no, the whole argument's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
What I'll say, yeah. So some quick hits here. Sorry, just before that, Deebo Samuel recovering on that hit that Marlon Humphrey laid on him. That was a man move right there. Just to have some positivity with the 49ers.
Yep.
What does it say? Why does Derek cuss more when discussing the Niners than he does the Raiders? I don't know if that's true.
Nah, he cusses all the same, AJ. It's just, I don't know. Pick your week. I mean, if you could take, is there anyone that could calculate the swear words over time?
That will be someone's job on this.
Yep.
Someone
Ernie,
check.
get on it. Come on,
right.
do something. Help the pod.
So how much football did you actually watch during this weekend, Steven, with everything going on with Christmas?
I watched as much as I could. I didn't catch any of the Giants and Eagles. To be honest, Christmas Eve was hard to watch. It was hard to watch all weekend. I was kind of busy a lot of the weekend.
No, fair enough. Okay.
I did not watch any of the what was it? Bills and Chargers. I didn't watch any Bills Chargers. Let me take a look.
Because you didn't have Peacock.
I didn't have Peacock in the location I was, because we were having the big family party with Jesse's fam at the Portuguese Hall in Sunnyvale. Shout out, or Mountain View rather. Shout out to that place. But we had Bengals and Steelers on Saturday, Bills, Chargers. Yeah, I didn't really watch any of the Saturday games.
Whoops. Fair enough. All right, I'll fill you in. So Cowboys, Dolphins. You watch any of this?
Yes, that's the game. That's really the game I watched almost in full, really.
As you should, because it was probably the most high profile besides Niners and Ravens.
Commanders, Jets wasn't doing it for you?
Not really. So the Dolphins defense is playing pretty well right now. Vic Fangio has got them playing really well.
Yeah.
And that was the key to this game, where you didn't need a whole lot from the Dolphins' usual high-flying offense. The only touchdown they scored in this game was just a quick check down, catch and run by Raheem Mostert. The rest of it was field goals by Jason Sanders. And the Cowboys were playing pretty well defensively too. They kept the Dolphins' offense in check. Like I said, it was only that one touchdown that they scored, and the rest were field goals. I think really where the Cowboys lost this game, it's not like Dak Prescott had a terrible game. The defense was making problems for him the same way that Brock Purdy had problems with the Ravens, even though Dak didn't throw as many interceptions or any at all, actually. It was the opening drive where the Cowboys were going down the field and they were on the 1 yard line and they couldn't get in because they lacked physicality in the running game.
Right.
Like, Tony Pollard's a great back, but in between the tackles on the goal line, this is where they could have used someone like a Derrick Henry if they wanted to trade for him at the deadline. They fumble on the goal line, giving it to the fullback, and then they squander that opportunity, losing by 2. That's where the game, I thought, really shifted. Because at that point on, the Dolphins went for it a couple times, but then Mike McDaniel figured out this is not the type of game where I need to go for it on a 4th down. This is the type of game where I just need to stay in the game and keep kicking field goals. And in the end, that's what happened. So I don't think the Cowboys had a terrible game. I just think that they got kind of out-physicaled in defense, and also just Mike McDaniel played a conservative, smart game.
Yeah, and they, the Dolphins did, or the Cowboys did get screwed with that roughing the passer on Micah Parsons.
100% they did.
At
100%
the end of the first half. Like, what the hell was that? And obviously,
Yeah.
it resulted in a touchdown, and they kept on going towards Micah Parsons. But good God, Jason Sanders, what a leg. What a leg. What was it, like 54, 52, 57? Like, Jesus, dude, this guy is striping it down the middle of in between the field goal posts. That and God,
well, the Cowboys have their own guy that could do that. Brandon Aubrey. That guy's a machine.
But one of the weirdest takeaways, or one of the big ones I had, I don't know why I didn't recognize this, but good God, man, Raheem Mostert being 31 years old.
Yeah.
I forgot that he's 31
Mm-hmm.
and he's doing this, scoring 20 touchdowns. I don't think we're making as much out of that as we should be.
He should be MVP. No. Offensive player of the year in consideration, but no.
Maybe. No, 31 years old, and he's still trucking through guys, breaking tackles, slipping. Like, what the hell, man?
Well, to be fair, yes, he's having a great season, but is he a system running back playing well in this offense? I'm just fucking around like that. It's the joke of this whole thing of systematic, or are you a game changer or a game manager or whatever?
Yeah, a game manager at running back.
Exactly. But yeah, dude, I think that I was impressed with the Dolphins win because I did not take them. I thought the Cowboys were going to win that game. But the Dolphins survived in the game between it was pretty much the who's going to actually beat somebody good this season bowl. Because between the Cowboys and Dolphins, it was these teams are good, but they haven't really beat anybody yet. And the Cowboys still keep losing on the road. So most likely they're probably going to be the 5th seed, and they'll have to go to Tampa.
And they're both going to lose in the divisional round in the playoffs in the AFC and the NFC. Otis Bird.
Do you think that with the Dolphins though, because they have a good chance to get the 2 seed now?
Yeah, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
Otis Bird, Mostert's a good player. It was tough seeing the Niners move on from him last year, but when the Niners got CMC, it kind of made up for losing Mostert. Yeah, could you imagine if the Niners didn't have McCaffrey? Like, that trade, just as much as just McCaffrey's performance on the field alone, just looking at what's happening elsewhere. Good God, could you imagine if Raheem Mostert's, scoring 20+ touchdowns and you're stuck with, Elijah Mitchell? Is Ty Davis Price even on the team anymore? I don't think he's on.
Well, they brought him back, I think, on practice squad.
All right, yeah. So, God, could you imagine that CMC trade is just looking better and better?
Yep, definitely is. The Giants and the Eagles, the middle game on Christmas Day. They needed a rebound game, and they got it after losing 3 in a row. They looked pretty good in the first half. Let's cut the bullshit with Tommy DeVito. Nice story and everything, but finally he was benched because the guy cannot push the ball down the field. Like, it's been nice, chicken cutlets. His agent was, getting some hype, but Tommy DeVito's not a starting quarterback of this league.
It was fun.
It was fun, but it was Linsanity. It was time to move on.
God, it wasn't even. Would that equate like the Linsanity thing? What, 19 games? I guess whatever it was that he was going crazy. 19 with New York.
5 for Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, but the last 2 kind of showed who he really is. And really, I don't even think the first one he was that good. It was fun.
It was a fun thing because it was a regional thing. He's from New York. He's got the New York accent, Italian accent. It was fun, but I'm glad it's over.
When you're in like this the latter parts of the season, when you're kind of in the midway point, you can get a little stale at times. So it was a fun story to keep up with.
Well, one of my favorite moments was when, after the Monday night game where they beat the Packers, some reporter goes, so Brian, you coached Tom Brady. I'm not comparing the two, but is there some similarities between? And then you see Brian Dable and the chatters go, John. Are we really doing this? I mean, it's been 4 games. Like, even his coach is like, come on, guys. I'm making this guy.
Because you kind of look like Brian Dable. It really,
I knew you
really acts out well.
I knew you were going to do that. The Giants put up a fight against the Eagles. So as well as the Eagles played in the first half, I thought they played piss poor in the second half. especially when Jalen Hurts was running right before halftime and could have gone to the sideline and got out of bounds and stopped the clock and still kept going. You didn't see the game, so you didn't know what play I'm talking about. But damn, dude. Jalen Hurts, from what I've seen from last week, where he threw the 2 interceptions in the end zone to Julian Love of the Seahawks, to yesterday with not going out of bounds, with him throwing that pick 6 to Adoree Jackson. Jalen Hurts is a very good player, but I don't think he's a smart player. And what I mean by that is I just think he's trying to make the like it's the same thing as Josh Allen. Same thing with Josh Allen. He makes the home run play when it really is going to hurt his team. Like especially like yesterday where he did not go out of bounds and he got tackled, and thank God the Giants had a penalty, because that would have been one of the more all-time like stepped in it moments where he could have gone easily out of bounds. He kept going, and they were out of timeouts, which is a really dumb play. So I think that the Eagles still have a lot of issues. Like they fumbled the kickoff out of the halftime, 2 guys running into each other. Defensively, they still have problems. They got away with it because they have more talent with the Giants, but I'm still not buying the Eagles. But also say this. You didn't see this, Steven. Tyrod Taylor converts a 4th and 7 with Darren Waller with no timeouts left, and Darren Waller catches the ball and just lays there on the ground. Doesn't hustle. His teammates are like, hey, you got to get up, you got to get up, get up. They finally clock it, and he throws it for an interception in the end zone, Tyrod Taylor. But that's just like, Darren, come on, dude. Like, I thought you were going to be such a great player with the Raiders, and obviously didn't work out with Josh McDaniels. I don't know if that's more of an indictment on McDaniels than Waller, but that was a really dumb moment yesterday, too.
Oof. That didn't sound good.
No, it's not good at all.
Alon said, not all about bald guys look like Brian Daboll, Steven.
Thank you, Alon. Thank you.
Don't punch me. Just don't punch me, Alon. Don't do that. Golden Gloves.
So you missed the Peacock game.
I missed the Peacock game.
Well,
did you watch the Peacock game?
You're damn right I did. I borrowed a Better Friends login and watched it. Are you okay? Are you surprised I watched that game?
Yeah, I think I got hot sauce in my eye.
Yeah, why
Bills Chargers, huh?
You know you're not supposed to touch your face after that.
Yeah, I did.
Ah, Jesus, Steven.
I'm all right.
Bills Chargers. Chargers put up a fight, but the Bills, this was a growth game where this was probably one they would lose earlier in the year. This looked very similar to the Bronco game, and in the end, they won the game. So I give them props for that. Even though it wasn't their best effort, I still think they can beat the Dolphins the last week of the season and get that division. But Peacock, good Lord. No commercials in the fourth quarter, which was good for a closely contested game. But, Peacock, you're not making any friends here when you got to force people to watch a, day before Christmas Eve game, and then we got to buy this shit for a playoff game. Like, ridiculous.
You should just become a fan of Premier League, man. You'll buy it then.
That's true. Well, actually, I'll never be a fan of Premier League.
No, you won't.
No,
You'll be too
won't.
bored.
Lions.
Because you're not
win
classy.
the division.
Artistic. What?
Oh, that's all soccer fans?
No, not at all. No. That's the chance. Anyway.
Gotcha. And the games are on too early in the morning. Lions win their first division title. Good for them. They beat the Vikings 30-24. They got some issues defensively, but offensively they look pretty good. So I don't know what they'll do in the postseason, but good on the Lions. Good for Dan Campbell. Good for him in the biting kneecaps.
I love the Lions.
Good for you.
That's all I got.
All right. Just quickly here, Browns Texans. Joe Flacco really makes them a dangerous team. He is pretty much just a gunslinger at this point, just dropping back and throwing it deep to Amari Cooper for 265 yards. Amari Cooper really getting into his own, I think, maturing as a player. But Joe Flacco
took him a decade, but he's there.
Yeah, there you go. Joe Flacco's good for 3 touchdowns a game, and then he's good for 3 interceptions. But you know what? It's the best option they got for the Cleveland Browns right now, and defensively they're playing pretty well. So they might be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
You know what? I like watching Flack. I saw his post game after the Browns, and he said something to the effect of like, what changed for you in the fourth quarter? And he just goes, Mari Cooper. And like, I don't know. I just remember his post game interviews being so dull, but you also knew there was like a low key funny guy in there.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Buster Posey type, where you hear that he's funny from all these people, but he doesn't show it really to the media. Yeah, Joe Flacco, he's right there. And
Sneaky funny guy.
it seems like he's really just enjoying his return to the NFL and just kind of making light of the whole thing, which I just love. I love it. It's a great story.
Great story. And we knew Joe Flacco was funny. Like, you ever hear that him mic'd up during the Super Bowl against the Niners, where he was like, "We're doing intentional safety here. We're punting. All right, if this guy comes around the sideline, you guys just tackle the shit out of him."
Yeah.
Seahawks, back-to-back weeks where they win 20-17 with a game-winning touchdown, and it wasn't Drew Lock this week. They went back to Geno, who struggled a little bit, but they got the win. And it's going to be interesting now, where the Seahawks look like they're going to be a playoff team. It looks like the Rams will be a playoff team, but there's a scenario where the Packers could sneak in because the Rams lose to the Niners the last week of the season, which I have a feeling that could be a Sunday night football game. Niners-Rams. Or Bills-Dolphins. That one's for the division. I don't know right now. You got a lot of good options.
Interesting.
Lastly, go ahead.
It's hard to win against Tennessee in Tennessee. Like, I don't care who. I don't even care who they were.
Still a physical team. Lastly, Jags and Bucks. Buccaneers look like they're the best team in the NFC South, and thank God someone's actually showing some life in that division. Although the Falcons rebound with Taylor Heineke, Saints laid an egg against the Rams. There's still a chance that any of those teams can win the division, but right now the Bucs look like the best. On the flip side, the Jags look like, I don't know what the hell's going on with them right now. Trevor Lawrence has a different injury every week, so I think that's what's kind of leading to him having bad performances because he's not practicing, whether it's a high ankle sprain or a concussion or now an AC joint. I still think they're going to win the division, but the Jags, they're not the team I thought they were going to be competing with the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens in the AFC.
You saw that picture, I'm assuming, with Trevor Lawrence and his face squished?
No, I have not.
You haven't seen the viral photo?
No.
Oh God! All right, let's hang on.
Jesus, seems like you have time for social media during Christmas, but not football, huh?
Yeah, I was hanging out with family. What do you think? What do you think? Come on, where's it at? Oh, I need to find this damn photo.
He's smushed.
Yeah, his face. Oh, there it is. All right, perfect. Okay. All right, pulling it up. Uno, dos, tres. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now, which do you think is better? This one or the Ahmad Brooks Drew Brees photo?
Oh, where Drew Brees looked like
where Drew Brees' neck looked like Mike Glennon's because of Ahmad Brooks.
Like every part of his body, it was like cartoony, almost like a Great Kazoo moment, where his whole entire neck and head just stood in place, but his whole body shifted to the left.
Yeah.
I would say the Drew Brees one because that was like kind of Space Jammy, just like ridiculously cartoony. This one just looks like Trevor Lawrence got his face smushed really badly.
Trevor Lawrence looks like he should be on the cover of Sum 41, Fat Lip.
Any killer, no filler?
All killer, no filler.
All killer, no filler.
Yeah, all killer, no filler, where everyone's doing the in real time.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Looks
that's
like
that's a bad looking photo.
Oh, my hair, my head. That hurt.
Yeah, but between your eyes and your face, Jesus, you're putting yourself through the ringer.
I just threw myself out of the equilibrium. Out of my equilibrium. What?
All right, Steven, that's all I got for quick hits.
All right.
Can I leave you with a Christmas take, I guess?
Sure.
All right. As I said, I was thinking I'm a little brother for Christmas.
Uh-huh.
We watched a fair amount of movies when we weren't watching football. We even watched that Patriots-Broncos game. Actually, not bad. Even though Chris Mad Dog Russo said it was going to be terrible. Close game.
Is that all you got?
No. What I was going to say was that we watched Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Still great movies. My brother had never seen Jingle All the Way before. So I showed him Jingle All the Way. And that movie, I think, gets slept on way too much. Are you laughing at me or you're laughing at something off screen with Jesse?
Because I watched it the other day, or I tried
right.
watching it the other day. Yeah.
And you turned it off?
I was trying to go to sleep, and there's a lot of yelling. Couldn't do it.
Between Sinbad and Arnold Schwarzenegger?
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, that movie, like, for the time it was in the 90s, of just like all of the craziness of the commercialization of Christmas, where everybody needed a fucking Furby or a Buzz Lightyear toy or Tickle Me Elmos, that was so perfect. And it's just like this, it's a satire of those times. And also, it's just goofy. How many movies are you going to see where Arnold Schwarzenegger punches a reindeer or an elf? Like, it's just fun. I think it's slept on. I think more people need to make that a holiday classic.
Why you eat my cookies? I love.
He's in my house, putting up my tree.
I love. Sinbad's so good in that.
Oh yeah,
This is exactly what Reverend Jesse Jackson was talking about. Like that kind of stuff.
I got a bomb. That's actually a bomb. This is a sick world we're living in with sick people.
Oh my god. Well, I'm glad. Well, did your brother like it?
Oh yeah, he loved it. He loved it.
Good. Yeah.
I just feel like for whatever reason that movie's shitting on, and it's actually very well done for a '90s Christmas comedy.
Then you got Phil Hartman.
Yeah. It's nestled safely under our tree.
I got the Turbo Man doll months ago.
Whoa! Not like waiting to the last minute there, huh?
Yeah.
By the way, this is one of the first times I watched it as an adult, where I'm picking up like little things I didn't think of before. But like he's at like the kids' karate class, and all the single moms are like, "Oh, Phil, can you come over to my house and fix this?" And this one woman goes, "Hey, my sink needs a little rework," and he goes, "Oh, I think I just got the tool for that." I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's kind of like with the Grinch, when the baby,
Yeah.
when the baby Grinch walks out and, hey, honey, your baby's here.
He looks like your balls.
Looks like your balls.
Oof. Oh God.
Good old adult humor in kids' movies. Anything else, Steven?
Yeah, one more thing. Just wanted to give a shout out to our guys, Cody Elias and Alexander Scott. They've been doing a little. Alex has obviously filled in on the podcast. Cody, we have not had on before, but they have started their own little Substack called The Forgotten Sports, I think is what it's called. And their latest piece, the worst wrestling booking decisions in history. So they go through like WWE stuff, NHL stuff. So if you guys want to check that out, feel free to give them a read. And they did not ask me to do that. It was unprompted, but I feel like I just wanted to give them a shout out since they're,
good
putting
for
in the
you,
work.
giving our friends a little plug. Did you read that actually?
What?
Did you read that article they wrote?
Well, no. Didn't read that one. I didn't read that one. I read the one on their breakdown on San Jose State and how they got jobbed by the computer.
So is it a joint thing? Is written by A. Scott and Cody together in unison?
Not in unison. They do separate articles. Sometimes they write in unison.
Okay.
So I think they collaborated for the top 20 here. But I think Alex wrote a review on the Iron Claw, which I still have yet to go see. And if you do not know the story of the Von Erich family, good God, you're in for a rude awakening if you don't.
I actually don't, and that movie actually looks very good.
Yeah, it's prepare for that one. But yeah, so shout out to them.
Okay, well, I'll check that out. And good on our buddies, Cody and A. Scott, doing big things that Steven doesn't care to read. Just wants to promote it, act like he's actually reading it.
Don't we all do that?
Fair enough. All right, Steven, I think this has run its course. Anything else?
No.
All right, we're good.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Boxing Day.
Happy Boxing Day. Merry Chrysler.
Merry
You love
Chrysler.
that? Yeah, you love that. Thanks to everybody in the chat today. We had a lot of new faces from Nathaniel, I think his name was, Richards. Yeah, Nathaniel Richards. Stop by, man. Skills report. Otis Bird is the word. The two Ernies. Our guy Alon. Michael Connell showing up. Thanks to all those guys. I said skills already. Oh, AJ Cruz. AJ Cruz. Can't forget about you. Until next time, Steven, what are we thinking? I'm kind of working this week, but not really. It's kind of what happens the week of Christmas, I guess, the week after Christmas.
Yeah.
I can do something Saturday though. Saturday good? Usual
Saturday's
Saturday?
good for me.
All right. We'll dive deep into something that day. What it is, I don't know. Maybe Warriors. We haven't talked Warriors enough lately.
Yeah.
Playing well, even though they lost to the Nuggets.
Yeah, well, 7-game homestand coming up. Big one.
They'll be fine. All right. Thanks to all you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We'll still be in the new year once we do the show on Saturday, but whatever. Steven, say what you always say.
Merry Chrysler.
Not again.